Hello everyone, come back to my class. In the previous class we have discussed the bridge design pattern. So in that we have studied the intent section, also known as, and we have seen the motivation also and the participants structure. So up to there we have studied. Now we'll see what are all the applications of the bridge design pattern, and also we are going to check it out the means other noun uses related patterns, implementation issues and the consequences, collaborations and the sample code. The few of the topics that is left with the bridge design pattern. Okay, so that is I'm going to continue with the bridge design pattern applications. Right, because we have studied the participant structure and the motivation behind the bridge design patterns. All these things we studied in the previous session. So we'll see the applications, means where all we can find this bridge design pattern. Okay, so the very first application is, so when you want to remove, that is coupling permanently between abstraction and implementation. So a very first application is, so when you just want to remove the coupling, that is coupling is nothing but the tight bonding between the abstraction and the implementation permanently. So because when you have the abstraction and the implementation tied together, which is having a tight coupling, so it's not possible to do a design in a varied way, means we cannot design independently. So the abstraction, what you are going to do some changes with the abstraction, that will affect in the implementation, and whatever the change you are going to do in the implementation, that may reflect in the client's, so that client's code. So that is why, so if you want to remove that coupling, that dependency between the abstraction and the implementation for permanent reason, so then you can use this bridge design pattern. That is the one application where you can use. Okay, we'll see the second application. Both abstraction and implementation are extensible by subclassing. So when you want to do this abstraction and the implementation, that is you need to derive in the derived classes, means you need to access the code that is present in the abstract class as well as in the implementation part. So in such situations, so you can use this one bridge design pattern, that is in a subclassing, that is nothing but in a derived form, as in a parent and a child relationship we will be using that concept. So if you want to extend, means if you want to use the inheritance concept, so in abstraction and in the implementation part, so you can use this bridge design pattern. So we'll see the next application. Changes in implementation have no impact on client's code. So I told you this with respect to the first application itself. So why? Because when you are going to remove that coupling between the abstraction and the implementation, so the abstraction will be independent and the implementation part will be independent. So both will be in a different varying conditions. So when you remove that one, so it will be easy, means whatever the changes you are going to do on the implementation or with respect to the abstraction, so that is not going to interfere between the two of them, means between abstraction and the implementation. The same thing, so if you don't want to alter the coding part that is present with respect to the clients, means already you have given a code to a client and now you want to change do some changes to the implementer, so that should not affect the client code which is already given. So means that should not alter the client codes, so whatever the changes you are performing, that should be with respect to that implementer, that abstract. So in such conditions, if you want to maintain such kinds of details, so you can use this bridge design pattern. So that is the application we have written, that is the third application. Changes in implementation and no impact on a client code. If you want this one, the changes that is being done to our implementation should not be affected with the client's code. So that if you follow this reason, so you can use the bridge design pattern. So we'll see the next application. You want to hide implementation completely from clients. So that is you don't want to expose the implementation details to a client. So that is nothing but your abstraction concept, that is a C++, you can tell, right? So that is a C++. So where it is going to provide the important feature called the abstraction, so where you are going to have only the prototype, the definition, so you are not going to get the complete implementation details there. So how it is being implemented, how, when, so what are the things, so these kinds of information we are not going to get in abstract classes like that. So in the same way, if you want to hide implementation details, okay, so any of the things, so for example, if I consider this chalk piece, I can just feel this one, so it is means a straight, it is a white color. I'm not thinking how it is being implemented, what are the composition of this one, so how it is being done, so I'm not going to give that details to you. So if you want to maintain those kinds of information, so you can use the bridge design pattern. So that is our fourth application. So if you want to completely hide the implementation details from the clients, so then you can use this bridge design pattern. So we'll see the next application. So if you want nested generalizations, so if you want to have a generalization is nothing but that is the last unit of a specification. So for example, if you have got year, okay, so I can generalize this one to month, then I can go for a week, then I can go for days, right? So your year will be the specialized form, okay, and the days will be the generalized form, most generalized. Even I can reduce to hours, minutes, seconds, okay, that is different. Okay, so for year, the number of days, like that. So year will be the most specialized form and the days will be the that is the least generalized one. Okay, so if you want to have that generalization in a nested form, so this kinds of generalization in a nested form, one within another. So if you have seen in a if condition, a nested if, and so on, right? So in the same way, if you maintain if you want to maintain nested generalization, so with respect to the coding part, classes and the objects, so you can use the bridge design pattern. So we'll see the last application. Share implementation with many objects. So that is you want to share implementation with many objects, implementation details with many objects. So just you can recall the previous session, so where I discussed how the bridge design pattern is going to work. So you will be having the abstract class in one part, okay, and another part it contains the implementer. So within that implementer you have got a division of classes, that is a derived classes, so which is going to make use of the implement details that is present in this implementer class, right? So if you want to provide these implementation details for remaining of the objects, so you can use this design pattern. So that is what I have written here. So that is you want to share implementation with the many objects. If you have only one class, okay, so if you have only one class, then abstract class and the implementer it's enough. So if you have more classes that is going to use the same implementation details, then you can use this bridge design pattern. So I'll tell you this in the implementation issues, okay. So if you have got only one class, okay, only one class, there is no need of creating this kinds of operations, okay. So if you have many classes, many objects being involved there, so then only you can use this bridge design pattern. So you can just recall that what I have written like this. So a rectangle box which contains the abstract class in one side and the implementer class in another side. So within that we had got a derived classes, that is a concrete derived classes 1, 2, 3 and so on, okay. So these things I am actually focusing now. So that is if you want to share your implementation details that is present here with the any numbers of classes that is going to be used, so you can use this design pattern, that is a bridge, okay. So these are the few of the applications so that we can find in that is a bridge design pattern. Now we'll see the collaborations that is we are going to have with respect to this bridge design pattern. So that is collaborations. So here we are going to discuss only one collaborations, that is collaborations are nothing but how it has been connected, how it has been collaborated with each other, okay. So here, so abstract class, forwards, all the requests done by or submitted by client to its implementer. That is how it is going to work. So that is the bridge design pattern, because the abstract class cannot implement anything. So that is why what it is going to do, what are the things the client is going to expect, means the operations, if you want to manipulate, if you want to rotate the rectangle, box, windows, so any of the shapes if you want to rotate, so what you are going to do, so the means for example window icon and the X window icon, so if we want to do some changes to the icon, rename the icon, so any operation if you want to perform through this abstract class that is submitted by the client, so what you need to do, usually the bridge what it is going to do, it is going to forward all the requests that is been submitted by the client to a implementer class, okay. So that is that the bridge, it is going to divide into two sections, one is the abstract part, another is the implementer part. So whatever the client is requesting operations that can be performed in an object or a class, so everything that abstract class it is going to forward to a implementer class. That is how it is being collaborated, means how it is being formed, okay. So that is why I have written only one statement here, means how it is being designed. So what is the actual flow between the contents that is present, that is abstract and the implementer. So means all the requests which has been submitted will be forwarded to an implementer. So that is how it has been collaborated. Just one definition you can tell, okay. And next is the consequences. Consequences I told you, so this may be advantages and the disadvantages that we can discuss. So hopefully there is no much disadvantages in the bridge design pattern. So we'll see so how it is being discussed here. So that is advantages and the disadvantages. Decoupling, interface and implementation. So this point I am going to take it as an advantage. Why? Because so if you are decoupling means there is no coupling between the interface and the implementation. This already I have told you in the first module also. So that is this concept is known as a composition. I have mentioned object composition. Okay, so black box testing like that. So black box, so that is nothing but a object composition, means it is not going to tell us what are all the contents that is present. So means it is going to interact, or it is going to have a communication using the interfaces. So such kinds of classes can be interacted, or they can be done with the changes or anything like that. So in a runtime environment, same way here. So in the when you have a decoupling between the interface and the implement, means there is no coupling between the interface and the implementation. So interface I can take in a different way, implementation I can take in a different way. Both are different now. So in this kinds of situations, I can change the environment, that is the coding part that is present in the implementation in a runtime, and even I can refer this interface in the runtime. So that is, it will allow me to do a changes in a runtime. So I can easily do changes. So if they are dependent on each other, it's difficult for me to do changes in a runtime. It's not possible at all. So that is why. So if we have, there is if we don't have any coupling between these two, interface and the implementation, so it's easy for us to go with the changes further in the implementation part, or in the changes if you require in the future trend when they're required. So you can change it during the runtime only. So that is the feature. So that's why I told you this can be taken as an advantage, since the consequences is going to discuss about the advantages and the disadvantages. So this we can consider as an advantage. Okay, so now we'll see the next consequences. Improved extensibility. Improved extensibility. So means here it is going to maintain hierarchy. So that is inheritance hierarchy. So why? Because improved extensibility is nothing but it's nothing but a derived classes, subclassing. So you will be having a parent class, and you will be having the child class, that is a derived classes. So it will provide you the more extended, means more improved version of extensibility. So why? Because you can have the abstract part and the refined abstraction in one section, and the implementer class in another section, which contains sub-concrete classes, concrete class A, concrete class B, like that. So you can refer the previous diagram. So it contains like that. So it is very easy to have a hierarchical maintenance. So parent, left child, right child, and further leaf nodes. So you can maintain that, no? So that is why we have got another advantage in the consequences discussion, that is it provides you the improved extensibility. So extensibility, I can just tell it is an inheritance. So where you can do a subclassing, so that is you can derive from the parent class. Okay, so that is another added advantage there. So we'll see the last consequences, that is hiding implementation from clients. So this we all discussed in the applications also. So you can consider this as a major advantage of the bridge design pattern. So why? Because so it appeared in the applications also. Now I have written in the consequences. In consequences, I am discussing this as a advantage. Okay, so here, so I'm going to, means the bridge is going to completely avoid the means exposing of this implementation details, or it is going to provide hiding of implementation details to our clients. Clients are nothing but the users who submitted the request. So for those people, we are not going to give, or we are not going to give any of the implementation details that has been done, so that you can perform using this bridge design pattern. So these are all the noun consequences that you can study with respect to the bridge design pattern. Now we'll see, so how to implement this bridge design pattern. So what are all the issues I may encounter when I'm going to design this one. So first we'll see the issues that can come, and next we'll see the sample code how we can implement. Okay, so next is the implementation issues. See, that is, so in an implementation section, so he has given few of the points you need to consider before going for the coding part. Under that first one, what he discussed is only one implement. If you have only one implementer, what you need to do? Okay, so I told you, so this bridge, it is going to follow abstract in one section and implementer in another part. So that is followed by, or it is going to be having a derived classes, concrete 1, that is a subclass, concrete 2, second subclass, concrete 3, and so on, subclasses, right? So this is how we are going to design. Suppose you don't have n numbers of classes, you have got only one implementer, so there is no means derived concrete subclasses. So what you need to do? Okay, so in such conditions, there is no need of following the that is a bridge design pattern. There is no need of creating this abstract class in one section and implementer class in another section. Follow the same way what you are going to follow when you have got only one class. Okay, so if you have only one class implementer, then no need of separating the abstract class into one thing and implementer class into another thing. So there is no requirement. Why? Because if only one class means there is no need of extending the implementation details to a remaining classes. Why we approach this bridge design pattern means when you have so many plenty of classes that is going to use the same implementation details. So in such situation, you can use the bridge design pattern where it will be having some of the implementation details in as a default, and it can be achieved in the remaining subclasses also. So when you don't have the subclasses only, so then why need to achieve with this separate abstract class and the implementation class? That is the thing we need to focus. So that is when you have only one implementer, so no need of separate abstract class and the respective implementer. Okay, so directly you can implement, directly using the abstract definition you can directly implement it. There is no need of creating separate abstract class and the separate implementer class. So that is the one thing you need to consider while starting your designing part. Now we'll see the second point. Creating the right implementer object means you need to create the which one is the right object to go with the implementer. So means you have got so many classes, subclasses. How you choose this class only the implementer class? Why not this concrete 1, concrete 2, concrete 3 and so on? Why didn't you choose this one? Why you choose only this part, only this class? So that is you need to consider. So how to choose the right object for an implementer class. So that is the point I have written here. So creating the right object, that is a right implementer object. So when you have so many classes, so many objects will be there. So which one will be the implementer class, that you need to decide based on the criteria. Means if you follow concrete subclass, so it should contain major of the activities, major of the default activities that can be applied to the remaining classes. So you need to choose like that. So if you consider only the one subclass which is having only one functionalities that cannot be matched with the another or rest of the subclasses, then what is the use of maintaining a implementer class? So you need to choose a object or a class, implementer class, that should contain major of the activities that can be covered by the remaining subclasses. So that is how you need to design. So that is how, when, these kinds of question you need to consider. How, when, what, which kind. Okay, so these kinds of question you need to ask, and you need to means analyze by yourself. So how to choose the correct implementer class. So if you choose that implementer class, that should covered with almost all the default functionalities that can be given to the subclasses. So that is how you need to choose. Next we'll see the another implementation issue. Sharing implementers. So this one that is when you have got the implementation in one part, so you are going to share that implementation details in any of the classes that can be derived from that. So in such situations, what you need to do, so you need to maintain the log, means how many classes are using the implementation, how to handle those things. So that is why we have got a name for this bridge, right? So that is that body or the handle, right? Another name for this one, bridge design pattern. Okay, so here, so our author called Coplin, he used this concept, that is a sharing implementer concept, in a C++ means object oriented languages. So where you use this concept, that is a body and the handle. So body is going to consider is one reference point, and handle as another reference point. Means is going to use both the words. So and is going to maintain all the implementation details in the body part, and the handle part, it is going to contain the links that is being given to the that is subclasses. Means this links will be there, no? So this links count will be maintained or handled by this part, and the implementation part that can be taken here, no? So that will be denoted as a body. So this author, that is a Coplin author, so is going to denote, or he has been used this one. So in a C++, that is object oriented languages. So that is what they have mentioned. One author has used this one. So you can also make use of the same. So you have got this concept also. So you can just focus on this point also. So these are the three issues that you are going to consider while you are going to implement the design part. Now we are going to see the actual sample course what we are going to follow in this design pattern, that is a bridge design pattern sample code. So just it will be having a pseudo course, we'll see that one. Sample code for bridge design pattern. So you can just go through this one. So that is following a C++ code, so which implements window, that are a window implementation, that is a window IMP. So from the that is a motivation section. So we'll see the window class defines the window abstraction for client applications. So you have got a class window, the name of a class. Within that you have got a public. So public, which contains a window, so it is having the contents as a parameters and the view as a pointer to it. And then you have got a draw contents method. These are all defined as a virtual. So and then you have got open, close, iconify, de-iconify. These are all the operations that you can perform on that particular icons. And then you have got set origin, set extent, and raise, lower. You can just see that in a set origin you have got that is a point, means at which point you are going to set the origin, and the extent also tells you the point, that particular as an addressing. So and then you have got a raise. Raise is nothing but how we are going to means raise that icon, and then lower that one, so that operation. And then you have got a draw line method. So within that you have got a point which is of type constant, and then draw rectangle. So means you need to have a points to draw a rectangle. Also for line also you have got points. And then polygon, so for that also it is going to be a polygon, means you need to design. So n value will be passed there. And the draw text, so which is going to have a character set, means we need to type a character there, so that is also included. And within a protected part, so you have got a get window implementation, that is a window implementation it is going to call, and a get view, so which is going to represent the view of the particular rectangle, line, polygon, text, and so on. So within a private section, so you have got a implementer, so that will be served as a pointer to that. And then you have got a contents, that is it is going to have a window content. Okay, so now we'll see the window that maintains a reference to a window implementation, that is IMP. The abstract class that declares an interface to the underlying window system. So that is that a class window imp means window implementation, so that is going to follow the window. Okay, so which contains a public section, that is a virtual void implementation, that is a top. Okay, so then you have got IMP bottom, so it is initialized to 0, and then IMP set extent was 0, and IMP set origin, that is also initialized to 0. And then you have got a device rectangle, that is means it is got coordinators, that is you have got 4 parameters there, it is been initialized to 0. And then you have got device text, so that is being taken with 3 parameters, and that is also 0. So device bitmap, so it is also having 3 parameters, and then it is been initialized to 0. And you have got lot more functions for drawing windows actually, so means drawing contents on the windows, not windows only. So you have got so many operations like that. So and that calls the window implementer recursively, so you can perform this particular actions repeatedly. So this is a small pseudo this is a small pseudo code actually you can consider. So if you follow it will be having a lengthy part, so I think this will be enough to go with just a sample code. So only the abstract part, how it is being implemented, a few of the details only. So abstract details, that is enough to go with. So we'll see the noun uses of the bridge design pattern. So here in the noun uses, we'll see where all we are going to find the usage of this bridge design pattern. So this window, the example what we have taken, this actually comes from, that is the window comes from ET++ framework that I discussed in the previous session. So in here actually in ET++ window implementation class, right? So window implementation class what we discussed, it is denoted as window port. So in the previous diagram, in a motivation diagram, we used actually window class and the implementer, that is a window IMP. So these words we have used, right? So actually why I took that word, why? Because it was there in the ET++ framework. So this also I have discussed. What is this ET++? Okay, so ET++, it is object oriented framework where you are going to have a designs with respect to the object oriented concepts. So it is been we had got a window, this example from this ET++ framework, and there it is been used as a, that is a window port. Okay, so means we can take the that is it is been used in a ET++. So we can tell that this bridge design pattern can be used in this ET++ framework, or actually this ET++ what we have studied in the previous session. So from there only we took this window example. Okay, so that is vice versa, so both are correct. Next we'll see the next use. Coplin, I mentioned the author name, right? So he has used, that is body and how to handle that body as an examples in object oriented concepts. So that is so this author Coplin, so you can find his book Statoskop and the Coplin combination, one book is there. So if you refer that one, so he has used most of this design pattern implementation there. So means there he has used this body and the handle meaning or a words in that particular examples. In his book he has mentioned these examples. So he has not considered the bridge in the book, he has considered body and the handle in that example. So that is why, so he means we can use the implementation details with respect to body and the handle. Body contains the implementation things and the handle contains the number of count that has been assigned. Okay, so we'll see the next uses. libg++. So all this that comes with the ++ notation will actually tells us it has been object oriented concepts. Okay, so that is a library contains the common set of data. Common set of data for linked list, graph, means library functions, means implementation with means predefined implementations. So these kinds of operations it is going to maintain, means this bridge design pattern in libg++. So you are going to have a common set of data that has been implemented, or common set of data with respect to the structures, that is a linked list. Okay, so linear graph and the means like array structures. So these kinds of operations will be used with respect to this one. So that is another noun uses. Next, AppKit. So bridge design pattern can also be used in next AppKit. So next AppKit is nothing but a application toolkit. So this has been short form to a AppKit. So in a next means next is also another object oriented concept, so where you can have the implementation of different coding parts with respect to the OOC concept. So there also you can use this application toolkit. So means within that application toolkit you will be having the bridge design pattern. So these are all the few of the noun uses, means uses of the bridge design pattern where you can find it out. Okay, now the last section is a related pattern, means the design patterns that can be related to this bridge design pattern. We'll see that one. Related patterns to bridge design pattern is abstract design pattern, abstract design pattern, adapter design pattern. Actually you can tell this is an abstract factory, there is no abstract factory design pattern. DP is the short form what I have written for the design pattern. So you can relate this bridge design pattern to abstract factory and as well as the adapter design pattern. Adapter design pattern we already discussed, so you can just relate to that one, and then abstract factory we'll see further in the next sessions. Okay, so that is about the bridge design pattern. So now we'll see the next design pattern, that is a composite. Composite design pattern. So within that, first part is intent section. Compose objects into tree structure to represent part all hierarchies. And composite allows clients individual objects and composite objects uniformly. Okay, so we'll see the definition. So that is the intent section of the composite design pattern. So next, third design pattern, so that has been kept in a syllabus. So that is the name of the design pattern is a composite. So what is the intent section is going to tell? That is a operation that can be performed by the composite design pattern. So you can just see there what I written. So compose the objects into the tree structure to represent part all hierarchies. Composite allows clients treat individual objects and the composite objects uniformly. Means this can be applied, okay, this particular composite design pattern can be applied when you have got so many number of objects that is been created for a classes. So when you have got so many objects, so you want to maintain that object in a one single hierarchy. So it provides a neat hierarchy to maintain that object. So it has been distributed unevenly. Okay, so means it has been distributed which is not uniform. So when you have those kinds of object creations, so plenty of objects will be created. You need to maintain a structure for that one. So that gives you the neat accessing. So means for example, if you want to access any of the objects randomly, so that should be efficiently accessed. So if you maintain the composite design pattern in your coding part, so when you have particularly major a huge number of objects, that helps you to efficiently access, retrieve or do any activity with the objects. So it will reduce the complexity, like that. Means with respect to the space it will take more, with respect to the accessing time and all it will be reduced one. So we'll see and one more added statement is that is when the client is going to access the object, so the individual object and the group of objects will find similar for the clients. Okay, so there is no difference that can be applied to the individual objects and the group of objects that is being done by the composite design pattern. So Usually what happens, so composite design pattern means it contains the collection of objects. So how about accessing those collection of objects, how the individual or a client, how he is going to feel when you have got so many objects together and one single objects together. So accessing one single object is easier for me, so I can do whatever I can perform activities, anything I can easily do for that. So whereas when you maintain the same concept in a group of means a group of objects together, so it may be tricky, or it may be the question mark to a user or a individual clients. So that's why in the statement itself they have given, so individual objects and the group of objects accessing are going to be the uniform way. So there is no difference between the individual objects and the composed objects. Okay, so that is the intent section it is going to focus. Next part is in this one, that is also known as. That is none. No name. There is no name given to this one. You don't think that none is a name for that. So none. There is no other name for this composite design pattern. Okay, so dash. Okay, there is no name. And so also known as is not present for a composite design pattern. So now we'll see the motivation behind using the composite design pattern. So why I need to use the composite design pattern in detail. Okay. So here why I need to use this composite design pattern. So before going to the motivation diagram, so I'll give the example. So actually what happens in a graphic editors, so when you are going to draw means editors, or when you are going to capture the images and so on. So what happens there, it will be having the so many complex structures. You are going to draw structures, means polygons, lines, text. You are going to do so many activities, and you are going to perform so much of activity on that particular polygons or diagrams. So what you are going to draw on that drawing editor. So using simple components you are going to perform the complex activity on that particular diagram, right? So if you draw some circle, you will actually rotate it left, right, you can means resize, so you can color it, you can fill, so you can perform so many complex activity on that structure. So on that drawing program what you have implemented. So using small components, so one line will be there, you will drag that one, you will draw it. Text will be there, you will drag that and you are going to draw it. So you are going to perform so many complex activity with the small components. So then what you are going to do, these components or these structures can be combined together to make more complex structures. Means I'm going to combine the lines, I'm going to combine the rectangle, square, bracket and so on. So I'll combine and I'll make a big diagram. Okay, so I'll make it a bit larger complex diagram, and this complex diagram I'll make it more complex by combining some more primitives to that one. Primitives are nothing but these lines, rectangle, boxes. So all this I call it as a that is a primitive part of a graphic editor. So when you're going to use the graphic editor, all this dot means that is a lines, dotted lines, all this I call it as a primitives. So okay, so this primitives, when you bind it together, it is going to form a complex structures. These complex structure altogether it is going to give rise to some more complex structures. And sometime what happens, these primitives will be categorized in one part, and the container of the primitives, for example, the one container we are going to maintain, so some, for example, one picture. So a picture contains what? It may contains the images, it may contains a circle, line, text and so on. So you will be having a small primitives like line one primitive, circle one primitive, triangle one primitive, like that you will be having. And the picture contains what? So picture contain all this combination together. So this is a container class. So instead of going with the small primitives like this, line, class means line, rectangle and so on, so you can actually go for that picture class itself, okay, which is a container class. So when you are going to maintain these kinds of things, there may be the problem that arises you. So how to maintain a hierarchy between the primitive objects and the container class. So there in that particular point, so I am going to apply the composite design pattern which will give me the solution. So in order to treat that primitives in one part and picture that is a container class in another way, means it is going to give me the hierarchy, tree level hierarchy structure. So I can easily figure out the primitives under the container class. Okay, so we'll see how it is being explained with the diagram. So I'll write up the diagram. So we'll see with this diagram. So we have got a graphic editor. So within that you have got operations, that is a draw operation, and you have got adding graphics, remove the graphics, okay, and get a child. So this cannot be applied for all the primitives. So few of the primitives can use it. So this operation is not uniformly applied to all the primitives. So let me tell you what is primitive. So this line, rectangle, text, so this picture, so this all together gives means this all single word or operations are a class. I am going to denote it as a primitives for graphic editor. So for graphic editor, this line, text, rectangle, this all serves as a primitives. Okay, so here you can just see in the line class, so it has been used a draw operation, and the rectangle uses another that is a draw operation, and the text uses a draw operation. So here in the picture, so this contains almost all the activities that can be performed in this graphic editor. So it is going to use all of the operations. So but here in the line, rectangle, text, it contains only the one operation, that is a draw operations. And using this picture class, so you have got that is for all G in graphics, that is you are going to perform a draw activity, means in a picture, so it contains images, so means it contains all this line, rectangle, everything it contains, right? So and together equally it is also containing in this one, so that is in a picture class, that is it's nothing but a container class which contains all the operations that is present here. And it is going to give the list of graphics, means it is going to add all the means nodes that is been created, that is a child nodes. Okay, so the problem is with respect to this picture class. So why? Because so when you have the this line, rectangle, text, so this rule the small primitives, small components, you can combine this one. So by combining this one, it is going to give you the complex structure. So sometimes what happens, this combination of the primitives plus this container primitive, so this already contains all the activities, all together forms the complex structure. Okay, so if you form only with this primitives, it is going to give rise to the complex structure. So if you combine this primitive plus this container class, that is a picture class, so it will be more added complexity for the design. So in order to overcome this drawback or this difficulty that you are going to face while designing, so you can use the composite design pattern. So means we can find out the solution using the next diagram. So means how it is going to represent this concept what I have written here. So you can actually alter this one. So you can give a tree structure for the same problem what we are going to face here. So if you give the tree hierarchy for this one, so it will be more efficient compared to this kind of programming. Okay, so that we'll see in the next session. Okay, so I'll wind up here. Thank you.